Have you ever found yourself in this situation? You're staring at your phone, watching those three little dots appear and disappear. Your stomach is in knots. Your palms are sweaty. Your mind is racing. Did I say something wrong? Are they talking to someone else? Why did they suddenly go cold? Sound familiar? Or maybe it's before the date even happens. You see someone attractive at a coffee shop, and you feel that pull of interest, but instead of approaching them, you freeze. Your inner voice starts whispering. They're probably taken. You'll just embarrass yourself. What would you even say? If you've ever felt your heart sink when a match doesn't respond, if you've ever canceled plans last minute because the anxiety was too overwhelming. If you've ever replayed a conversation for days, wondering where you went wrong, please know this. You are not too sensitive or broken. You're experiencing one of the most fundamental human fears. The fear of social rejection, and it's quietly sabotaging your chances at finding meaningful connection. We live in a world that tells us to put ourselves out there, but nobody teaches us what to do with the crushing vulnerability that comes with it. We're told to be confident, but never shown how to cultivate genuine self-worth that isn't dependent on external validation. But here's where ancient wisdom offers a surprising solution. Stoic philosophy, developed over 2,000 years ago, reveals a crucial truth that modern psychology is only now catching up to. True confidence in dating isn't about guaranteeing a yes. It's about building an inner foundation so solid that someone's no becomes irrelevant to your sense of self-worth. The Stoics understood what we often forget. We cannot control other people's reactions, but we have absolute sovereignty over our judgments, our values, and our actions. So, before we dive deeper, I want you to do something real with me right now. Think of one specific, recent time when the fear of rejection paralyzed you. Maybe you matched with someone amazing on an app, but were too nervous to send the first message. Maybe you went on a great date, but couldn't bring yourself to suggest a second one. Maybe you stayed in a situationship far too long because you were afraid to ask for commitment. Hold on to that memory. Don't judge it. Just observe it. We're going to unpack it together today. And by the end of this video, you'll have a complete Stoic toolkit to transform your relationship with rejection forever. This isn't about becoming someone else. It's about becoming the most confident, authentic version of yourself. Part 1. The Anatomy of Dating Anxiety. Why rejection feels like physical pain. Let's pull back the curtain on what's really happening when we feel that sting of rejection. This isn't just in your head. There's profound neuroscience and psychology at play here. First, understand this. Your brain processes social rejection in the exact same regions as physical pain. Crazy, right? That feeling of being ghosted or turned down isn't just metaphorical. Neuroimaging studies show it literally activates your anterior cingulate cortex, the same area that lights up when you physically hurt yourself. Evolutionarily, this makes sense. For our ancestors, social exclusion could mean death, so your brain developed this alarm system to keep you in the tribe. But here's where the Stoic wisdom comes in. While we can't turn off this ancient wiring, we can absolutely change how we interpret and respond to it. The problem isn't the initial sting, it's the story we tell ourselves afterwards. The philosopher Epictetus, born a slave and facing rejection his entire life, identified the core issue to millennia ago. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. We are outsourcing our self-esteem. We hand strangers the remote control to our inner peace and say, "Here, you decide whether I'm worthy today." Let me break down the 3 layers of dating anxiety that Stoicism helps us dismantle. Layer 1. The catastrophizing mind. We take a single data point. They didn't text back and create an entire narrative of failure. I'm unlovable. I'll die alone. The Stoics called this false judgment, allowing our initial impressions to spiral into irrational conclusions. Layer 2. The control fallacy. We try to control what we cannot. Other people's feelings, actions, and desires. Meanwhile, we neglect what we can control. Our own boundaries, our communication style, our standards, and our self-care. Layer 3. The identity fusion. We fuse our self-worth with dating outcomes. A rejection isn't just someone saying no to a date. It feels like they're saying no to our entire being. I want to introduce your first practical exercise. I call it the Dating Anxiety Inventory. This week, After any dating interaction that triggers anxiety, I want you to take 2 minutes and ask these 3 questions. What exactly happened? Just the facts, no interpretations. What story am I telling myself about what this means? What part of this is within my control, and what part isn't? Just doing this creates immediate space between the event and your suffering. This isn't about eliminating emotion. It's about preventing emotion from hijacking your rationality. The real cost of unmanaged dating anxiety. It makes you boring. Now, here's the painful truth. When you're terrified of saying the wrong thing, you play it safe. You become generic. You ask, so, what do you do for work? Instead of, what's something you're secretly passionate about? You hide the very quirks, opinions, and edges that make you memorable and lovable. Your fear of rejection, ironically, creates the very outcome you feared most, a lack of genuine connection. Part 2. The Stoic Dating Dojo. Practical Tools for Modern Dating. Alright, we've diagnosed the problem in depth. Now let's build your practical, actionable Stoic toolkit. This is where we move from understanding to transformation. I want to introduce you to 3 powerful Stoic practices, adapted for modern dating. Practice 1. Negative visualization. The Rejection Vaccine. I can feel the resistance through the screen. Imagine things going wrong? That sounds miserable. But here's the paradigm shift. The Stoics called this premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. But it's not about pessimism. It's about psychological preparedness. Practicing negative visualization is like a vaccine for your anxiety. You expose yourself to a small, controlled dose of the fear to build immunity. Let me give you a detailed, modern example. Let's say you're thinking of asking someone out you've been chatting with. The old, anxious pattern would be, avoid thinking about it. Feel mounting anxiety. Maybe send a hesitant message. Obsess over response. The new, Stoic approach with negative visualization. First, you consciously sit down and walk through the worst-case scenario. What if they say, no? Then I will be in exactly the same position I am now. I will survive this momentary discomfort. What if they ghost me? Then they've shown their character early, saving me months of wasted time. What if I feel embarrassed? The feeling will pass within hours. My real friends will respect my courage. Second, you realize, I can handle this. The monster isn't as scary when I look at it directly. Third, now you can act from a place of choice, not fear. Practice 2. The dichotomy of control. Your dating compass. This is arguably the most important Stoic concept for dating. Epictetus said, some things are within our power, while others are not. Our job is to ruthlessly identify the difference. Let's create a specific dating control list. What you can control. Your profile authenticity. Your effort and initiative. Your communication clarity. Your boundaries and standards. Your personal growth. Your reaction to outcomes. What you cannot control. Their attraction to you. Their responsiveness. Their past baggage. Their dating agenda. Their personal issues. Their ultimate decision. When you feel anxiety rising, consult this list. Are you worrying about something in the second column? Redirect that energy to the first. Practice 3. The virtue shift redefining success. This might be the most transformative practice. We need to shift from outcome-based dating to virtue-based dating. Instead of asking, did they like me? Start asking, was I authentic? Was I kind? Was I courageous? Did I listen well? Did I maintain my integrity? Let's do a quick experiment together. Think about your last dating experience. Now, rate it on 2 scales. 1. Outcome success, 0 to 10. 2. Virtue success, 0 to 10. Most people obsessed with the first number completely ignore the second. But which one actually reflects your character? Which one can you actually control? Let's make this real right now. I want you to think of one dating intention for this week. Maybe it's sending that message you've been hesitating on. Maybe it's having that difficult conversation. Your mission is to apply at least one of these 3 practices beforehand. Then, if you're ready to transform your dating life, write "I accept" the hashtag Stoic Dating Challenge in the comments below. Let's build a community of people supporting each other in courageous, authentic dating. Part 3. From anxious to secure, the Stoic mindset transformation. This final part is about the deep, internal work, the mindset shift, that makes all the techniques sustainable. Because without this, tools can feel like temporary fixes. With it, they become part of who you are. The Stoics were masters of what we now call cognitive reframing, changing our perspective to change our emotional experience. Shift 1. See rejection as redirection. The Stoic art of turning obstacles into advantages applies perfectly to dating. Every no is life efficiently removing someone who isn't your person. Every ghosting is someone showing you their character early. Every failed connection is practice for when the right one comes along. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The obstacle to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." A rejection isn't blocking your path to love. It is the path guiding you toward what's actually meant for you. Shift 2. From needy to generous. Anxiety often comes from a place of neediness. I hope they like me. I need their validation. The Stoic reframe. Shift to generosity. I wonder what I can appreciate about this person. How can I make this interaction enjoyable for both of us? This subtle mental flip transforms your entire energy. You go from seeking to giving. And paradoxically, this generous, non-needy energy is incredibly attractive. Shift 3. Love as practice, not destination. We often see finding love as a finish line. The Stoics saw love as a daily practice of virtue, patience, courage, justice, wisdom. When you focus on practicing these virtues in your dating life, the pressure lifts. You're no longer trying to arrive somewhere. You're focused on who you're becoming along the way. So I want you to ask yourself a serious, potentially life-altering question. If you were completely free from the fear of rejection, what courageous action would you take in your dating life this week? What authentic part of yourself have you been hiding that you would finally reveal? What conversation have you been avoiding that you would finally initiate? That vision, that confident, free, magnetic version of you who dates from abundance rather than scarcity. That is your birthright. That is your why. Managing your dating anxiety isn't about avoiding no. It's about saying yes to becoming that person. Conclusion and invitation. So let's bring it all home. Using Stoicism for dating isn't about becoming cold or emotionless. It's the exact opposite. It's about building such a stable, resilient foundation within yourself that you can engage with potential partners from a place of authentic warmth and generosity, not desperate neediness. It's about moving from being a passive participant, hoping to be chosen, to an active architect of your love story. Your transformation starts with a single, conscious step. First, acknowledge the fear with the dating anxiety inventory. Second, practice the tools. Negative visualization, the control dichotomy, the virtue shift. Third, embrace the mindset. See rejection as redirection. Focus on becoming your best self. But this isn't the end of our conversation, it's the beginning of yours. True growth happens in community, through shared struggles and insights. So I have 2 final questions for you, and I'm genuinely curious to hear your answers in the comments. What's the one insight from today that most resonated with you? What's the first small, courageous action you'll take in your dating life this week? Sharing this makes it real. Your experience is valuable, and it will undoubtedly help someone else watching feel less alone in their struggle. If this conversation resonated, and you're ready to build unshakable dating confidence, here's how you can take the next step. Hit that like button. It tells the algorithm this is meaningful content worth sharing with others who need it. Subscribe to the channel if you want more practical guides like this on applying ancient wisdom to modern relationships. Share this with one person. Maybe it's that friend who's also struggling with dating anxiety. Thank you for investing this time in your love life. Remember, the goal isn't to avoid rejection. The goal is to become the kind of person for whom rejection is merely feedback, not a verdict. Your future self and your future partner will thank you for doing this work. I'll see you in the next one.